Hello fear seekers. Before we dive into today's chilling tale, give that like button a cold, ghostly touch and haunt the subscribe button for more spine-tingling stories. Let's aim for 5,000 likes. For every like, a lost soul finds its way back. Ready to journey into the abyss? Let's begin. Our tale begins with 5 friends, each different, each holding secrets and desires. One gloomy evening, they received something out of the ordinary, not just an invitation, but a miniature room model. At first glance, it seemed like an exquisite artifact, but as they peered into it, they felt a rush of emotions. Fear, joy, nostalgia, all in a fleeting moment. The label read, Hotel Labyrinth, a night of grandeur and horror. The legend was real, and it was beckoning them. As the 5 friends approached the fabled Hotel Labyrinth, a chill ran down their spines. Nestled amidst a dense, whispering forest, the hotel stood tall and imposing. An architectural marvel, it seemed to defy time itself, with its Gothic arches intertwined with Art Nouveau designs. Grotesque gargoyles watched them from above, their stone eyes almost gleaming with life. The entrance, while grand and beckoning, echoed a silent warning: venture at your own peril. But what was most unsettling was the stark emptiness. For a grand reopening, there wasn't a soul in sight. No guests, no staff, just silence. The only sound was the soft rustling of the leaves and their own heartbeats, growing louder with anticipation. Upon entering the main hall, the friends were instantly captivated by the figure at its center, the elusive Mr. Morrow. The very atmosphere seemed to shift around him, a blend of allure and foreboding. "Welcome," he began, each word dripping with an elegance that belied the gravity of his message. "To the Hotel Labyrinth, where reality bends and truths are laid bare. Every door here is a portal, leading to both radiant dreams and shadowy nightmares. It's a matter of perspective, don't you think?" He offered a knowing smile, eyes gleaming with mischief. Seeing their intrigued expressions, he continued, "Each chamber is a dance of duality, a tango between your brightest hopes and darkest fears. Will you revel in its embrace or recoil from its touch? That remains to be seen." Pausing for effect, Morrow leaned in this place, I am bound by one unyielding rule." His voice dropped to a whisper, "I cannot weave falsehoods, but remember, truth can be more deceptive than fiction. Here, walls have ears, and floors whisper tales of bygone guests. Will you fade like a forgotten whisper or resonate as a haunting echo? The decision," he said, his eyes locking onto each of theirs, "rests in your hands." While the friends perceived his words as an enthralling challenge, the layers beneath Morrow's statements hinted at a complex and unsettling reality. They weren't just guests, they were pawns in the hotel's intricate, and potentially perilous, game. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that danced with the hotel's eerie glow. As nightfall enveloped the Hotel Labyrinth, the structure began to breathe. The walls pulsed rhythmically, almost as if the building had a heartbeat, and the friends felt a tangible shift in the atmosphere. One by one, they ventured into their assigned rooms, their excitement tinged with a palpable sense of unease. The historian, drawn to legends of the hotel, found herself in a chamber where time seemed fluid. Ancient scripts adorned the walls, but as she read, the narratives twisted, merging historical fact with chilling fiction. The tech-savvy friend entered a modern suite filled with cutting-edge gadgets. But soon, the technology began to rebel. Screens flickered with distorted images of his past, and devices operated on their own, weaving a digital web of horror around him. The psychologist, curious about the emotional impact of the hotel, was met with an overwhelming surge of feelings. The room manifested emotions into tangible forms. Joy appeared as ethereal lights, while fear took on a more sinister, shadowy form, lurking in the corners. Yet, for all the friends, one thing was clear: the hotel was alive. The corridors seemed to elongate and contract, leading them through a dizzying maze of ever-changing landscapes. Mirrors revealed alternate realities, where their reflections moved independently, mocking or warning them. Clocks, in a cruel twist, moved backward, making them relive distorted versions of their pasts. Shadows detached from their owners, whispering dark secrets and playing tricks on their minds. As the hours passed, the line between illusion and reality blurred. The hotel's living nature became more pronounced, with rooms shifting and rotating, seemingly feeding off their emotions. The friends realized that they weren't just guests, they were part of the hotel's intricate, nightmarish tapestry. Mirrors that reflect alternate realities. Clocks that move backward, replaying twisted versions of past memories. Shadows that have a life of their own. The once opulent rooms began to distort, their beauty replaced by grotesque parodies of reality. The air grew dense, suffocating, each breath a struggle. The historian, already trapped in twisted historical events, began to feel the pain of those moments. The cold water from the sinking ship felt real, its icy grip tightening around her. The shouts of the medieval mob grew louder, their accusations more personal, their intent deadly. Chains appeared on her wrists and ankles, dragging her deeper into the nightmarish scenarios. The tech-savvy individual's digital nightmare escalated. The screens began to bleed, red rivulets dripping onto the floor. The grotesque images of his loved ones reached out, their cold, digital hands trying to pull him in. The drones, previously just a threat, began to strike, their blades drawing blood with every pass. The psychologist's emotional horrors intensified tenfold. The guilt, pain, and fear she faced grew in size and ferocity. They weren't just abstract concepts anymore, they took on humanoid forms, their features distorted and horrifying. They whispered her darkest secrets, their voices dripping with malice, their touch icy cold. Amidst this chaos, a haunting lullaby echoed throughout the hotel. Its melody was eerily beautiful, but the lyrics, sung in a child's voice, spoke of the hotel's insatiable hunger for fear and despair. Their senses assaulted, the friends' desperation reached a fever pitch. The hidden chambers they discovered were not just repositories of diaries but mausoleums of past guests. Skeletal remains, some still clutching their diaries, littered the rooms. The walls, once pristine, were now covered in frantic writings, desperate pleas, and chilling warnings. The diary entries painted a picture of abject horror. Guests spoke of rooms filled with writhing shadows, of floors that turned to quicksand pulling them under, of ceilings that descended slowly, threatening to crush them. The final entries of many were smudged with blood, the last moments of guests who lost the hotel's twisted game. But amidst the terror, a pattern emerged. The hotel, while formidable, had a rhythm, a cycle to its horrors. The friends realized that the hotel's need to feed on emotions was both its strength and its vulnerability. It was relentless but predictable. And in that predictability lay their only hope of escape. But time was running out. With every passing moment, the hotel grew stronger, its horrors more intense, its hunger more insatiable. The friends knew they had to act fast, for the dawn might never come for them. With steely resolve, the group made their way to the grand hall, the heart of the hotel, where Morrow waited with an enigmatic smile. The room was bathed in a dim, crimson glow, casting long, dancing shadows. Morrow stood tall, his silhouette a stark contrast against the backdrop of pulsating walls. "Why are you doing this?" demanded the historian, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and anger. Morrow, tilting his head slightly, replied, "I merely provide the stage, it's the guests who choose their dance." His voice was calm, almost soothing, yet every word was weighed down by centuries of knowledge and pain. The tech-savvy individual, frustrated, pressed on, "What do you want from us?" With every heartbeat, with every tear, with every scream, the hotel thrives, Morrow responded cryptically. "But remember, I cannot lie. You feed it as much as it feeds on you." The psychologist, trying to analyze the situation, asked, "How do we end this nightmare?" Morrow leaned in, his eyes piercing into theirs. "Every end has a beginning, and every exit an entry. Sometimes, to move forward, one must look back." The friends exchanged confused glances, trying to decipher his riddles. The realization that Morrow was bound by an unspoken rule, that he couldn't lie, but also wouldn't offer straightforward answers, added another layer to the enigma. The historian, taking a deep breath, ventured, "Are we the first to experience this?" Morrow, with a sly grin, replied, "Every night is unique, just as every guest. Some leave footprints, while others, merely shadows." Their conversation with Morrow was a maze in itself, his answers always skirting the edge of truth, guiding yet misleading. The friends left the confrontation with more questions than answers, but one thing was certain: the key to their escape was hidden in Morrow's cryptic words, and deciphering them was their only hope. Armed with the cryptic clues from Morrow, the friends regrouped, their determination stronger than ever.
Each word he'd uttered was dissected, analyzed, and interpreted. They realized that to escape, they'd need to use the hotel's hunger for emotions against it. The historian, recalling the hotel's deep-rooted past, suggested retracing their steps, focusing on the beginning as Morrow had hinted. The tech-savvy individual set to work, using devices he'd salvaged, trying to detect patterns in the hotel's ever-shifting architecture. Meanwhile, the psychologist, tapping into her expertise, proposed confronting their fears head-on, turning their emotional reactions from passive responses to active weapons. As they navigated the hotel's shifting maze, they began to enact their plan. Each time the hotel presented a horror, they responded with calculated emotional reactions. By harnessing their fears and memories, they began to confuse the sentient entity. The walls pulsed erratically, the shadows hesitated, and the once labyrinthine corridors started to unravel. Their strategy was working, but not without challenges. The hotel retaliated, intensifying its horrors. Rooms filled with suffocating darkness, floors became treacherously unstable, and chilling whispers echoed, trying to break their resolve. But the friends held firm, drawing strength from each other. In a climactic moment, they found themselves back in the grand hall, facing the entrance. But it was guarded by a final, intense manifestation of their collective fears. Pooling their strengths and using the clues they'd deciphered from Morrow's words, they confronted the entity. With a deafening roar, the illusion shattered, revealing the exit. But even as they made their escape, the hotel's eerie lullaby followed them, a haunting reminder of the night's terrors. The muted hues of dawn painted a melancholic picture over the dense forest. Emerging from the confines of the hotel, each friend stepped into what they believed was freedom. Their expressions, however, were not of relief but of profound sorrow and isolation. The historian's steps were hesitant, each footfall echoing with the haunting memories of her friend's laughter, now replaced by the deafening silence of the woods. The tech-savvy individual, once confident in his understanding of the world through machines, clutched a dead device, its lifeless screen mirroring his own sense of despair. The psychologist, always attuned to the emotions of others, was now overwhelmed by her own feelings of guilt and loss. Each was consumed by a singular, tormenting thought: they had survived while their friends had perished. The weight of this belief was more oppressive than any physical horror the hotel had thrown at them. But the true tragedy lay in the hotel's final, cruel deception. While they believed they had escaped its walls, they remained trapped within its malevolent grip. Their perceived solitude, their survivor's guilt, was just another layer of the hotel's intricate web of psychological torment. The friends, so united in their quest, were now ensnared in separate illusions, forever isolated from one another. They were ultimately defeated not by the physical horrors of the hotel, but by its psychological torment. The hotel labyrinth had claimed another set of souls, not through chains or walls, but through the mind's own despair. And as the facade of the hotel vanished with the rising sun, it left behind a haunting legacy of souls lost to its malevolent games. Months later, in a dimly lit room, a young individual sits before a screen, their eyes widening in shock and intrigue. They've just finished watching the harrowing tale of the hotel labyrinth and the ill-fated journey of the friends. Suddenly, an ornate, hand-delivered envelope slides mysteriously onto their table. The seal is reminiscent of the very emblem of the hotel labyrinth they'd just seen. Trembling, they open it to reveal a shimmering card which reads: "Did the tale of the labyrinthine hotel leave a chill down your spine? If it did, then let its legacy live on. Seal your fate with us by pressing that like button. Let the world know you've been touched by the hotel's haunting embrace." The card continues: "If you dare to journey further and explore more tales from beyond, ensure your key to the next adventure. Subscribe now, for the hotel labyrinth may beckon you again." The individual, heart racing, is left with a choice. They can engage with the tale, becoming a part of its ever-growing legacy, or they can turn away, forever wondering what other mysteries lay waiting.
Survive the tale and crave more. Your bravery deserves applause. Dare to dive deeper. Haunt that like, share, and subscribe. Whispers in the dark or screams aloud. Share your thoughts. Your voice guides our next ghostly tale.